What is pussy poppin', you beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sipping the Tea Quarantine Edition. We're at home and we're sipping our tea, and what, girl?
Our guest, spill that.
Spill that tea. You just left me hanging so hard. Who you got with you, girl?
I got a little glitty.
We've got Miss Mama serving a brand new fresh cut. And ladies and gentlemen, all our viewers and listeners, I am super stoked today because in these times, hearing from real people that have done real things, it's so important. So with no further ado, Nick Santonastasso, what is up, my brother? Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me and getting my last name right.
We'll just bypass that. Continue.
So we're just going to dive right in, and let's just start. How are you surviving quarantine? What have been some takeaways, both positive and negative, with your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. A quote comes to mind, and it's a powerful quote that I live by, and it says, "Our problems become gifts once we learn from them." And so, I'm really in this mentality of that I never lose, I only win or learn. And that's a Nelson Mandela quote. And so during this time, I've been able to really evaluate my personal life. Where do I need to focus on? Evaluate my business. Where do I need to focus on? And so to be fully transparent, my business is solely based on live speaking engagements, right? So I have to go to live events. And so not only did we see millions of people not being able to be impacted, but we saw thousands of dollars of revenue, slip through the cracks. And so right now, Corona has given us a time to really focus on the digital presence because it was lacking. It was a hole. And to build, products and service on the back end, like, Junior Victorious, a curriculum for the youth. And so this has given us a time to not only evaluate our personal lives, but evaluate our businesses as well. And, for the people listening, this is a time for you to see, can you be more present with your family? This is a time to call your mom and dad a little bit more. This is a time to further the connection with your brothers and sisters. Blood or not blood, right? We all have brothers and sisters. And also in your business, where do you lack? And how can you get more eyes on you, your brand, and your service when everyone's eyes are glued to the phone screens right now?
Wow.
It's very different, changing times. And I feel like those that adapt and, not to say that it's like this, but I feel like, just take a nugget of what you just said and apply it. You can make, you can, just like in life, whatever's thrown at you. So I want to kind of take you back so you can share your story, because I feel like getting into fitness, the health, but also challenges, adversities that you were faced with at the young age. Can you just take us, across the board with that story and, I guess the mental approach that you took and how you learned that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll give people context for those that are watching, and those are listening. If you're driving your car, don't look at the screen. That's very dangerous.
Yeah, please don't. I don't want. No.
But I'm 23. In 1996, the doctors classified me with Hanhart syndrome, and that's a super rare genetic disorder that either leaves the babies with undeveloped limbs or undeveloped organs. And so at the time of my birth in 1996, I was the 12th baby in medical history that they've ever seen this happen to. And out of the 12, 8 of them have passed away due to undeveloped organs. And so, my parents chose to focus on the 30% of me living rather than the 70, because focus is extremely important. But I'll run through this quickly. From an early age, my parents sat me down and said, listen, you're born with no legs and one arm, and this isn't going to change. And the world out there isn't going to change for you either. You're going to have to figure out how to do things Nick's way. And so, they put my clothes in front of me and say, all right, figure it out. Or they put my food there and say, figure it out. And they give me verbal suggestions, but they were engraving two massively important things in me. The first thing, they were getting me comfortable with being uncomfortable. And oftentimes that's not just something that, kids can adopt to, but adults. Because as humans, one of the biggest failures a human has, other than fear of rejection, because that's number one, but the second is fear of failure. And the reason why we have a fear of failure is because we have the wrong relationship with failure. Now, I don't know about you guys, but failure is someone I watch Netflix on the weekends with, I cuddle, I cry on. I embrace failure because I know on the other side of failure, massive personal growth is going to be taking place. And then the second thing my parents engraved in me at an early age was they got my mind in the routine of focusing on the solution rather than the problem.
Boom.
Listen, everything was a problem for me. Everything was a challenge. Putting on my shirt, getting on a chair, feeding myself. And so I chose to focus on the solution of things. And that goes hand in hand with, the quarantine time. Are you focusing on the things that you can control, or are you focusing on the things you can't control?
Wow.
I mean, that mindset, that powerful mindset. And I love that the way you described it, though, like your parents put it in front of you with the suggestions of this, like, do it this, do it that. But it's the basis of that was love, but also like that hard thing of like, because the world's a vicious place, vicious.
Oh, yeah.
But we're only 5 minutes in and I'm already like, I've lost words. So Ari, I'm throwing it to you because it's damn right.
I'm lost for words too. And I mean, I've been following your journey for a while and I've listened to your stuff with Ed and Andy and First Form. So like having you on here is just like, it is very, like, woo, we're taken back. But your journey is so powerful, and with your mindset, because most people who have everything coming to them struggle with, just everyday life. And so I just like, let's take it here. What was your decision to even get into like fitness and getting to bodybuilding?
Yeah. So great question. When I was a senior in high school, I amputated. Well, I didn't. The doctors did, of course. They amputated about 5 inches of my right limb off. So I was able to become a wrestler because that arm was growing faster than the skin. And so, but I made that decision because I needed to dig myself out of a hole. I was trying to find this confidence thing and where did it come from? And I wanted to be labeled as an athlete when I said I couldn't. And so when I was wrestling, I was a senior in high school and the app Vine came out. And so for those of you that don't know what Vine is, Vine was an app that was released in 2014 where you could post 6-second videos. And so I wanted to create a way where I can not only make people laugh, but they can look at my video and go, wow, look at Nick living his best life. Maybe I could live my best life.
Yes.
I thought of an idea. I said, well, how many legless guys do you see crawling around Walmart pretending to be a zombie? They said, no one. And I said, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And so I put fake blood on my face and I put fake blood on my clothes. And I set out to my local Walmart in New Jersey, which Nick's not allowed in that Walmart anymore. And
I was about to say, hang on a minute, permanent life ban, no?
Yeah. And I went down the aisles and I found this guy heavily invested in the paper towels and I scared him. It was 6 seconds. I posted the video. I went to sleep for school the next morning and it popped off. It went internationally viral and I gained 50,000 followers. That led to 1 million followers in under a year, scaring Norman Reedus of the main actor of The Walking Dead in Tokyo, Japan, and put myself on the map, the map basically. And but I realized two things. I said, one, it didn't fulfill me anymore, which is massively important, right? A lot of people in life are doing things that don't make them fulfilled. They don't make them happy inside. And second, when Nick has kids and grandkids, I want them to know me for much more than crawling around a Walmart. I got to do something bigger and better. And so I analyzed the fitness industry, and I always wanted to be in shape, didn't know if I could do it. And I analyzed the fitness industry and said, well, there's no guy with no legs and one arm bodybuilding. If I do it successfully, not only will people catch on, but this is something in my life that people can't underplay me on. And what I mean by that is they can't say, well, it's easy for you to become a bodybuilder. You have no legs and one arm. Like, that's like the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And so it was the one thing that if I did it successfully, you couldn't underplay me. It was like checkmate, right? And so my knowledge in nutrition got better. My knowledge in training got better. And, there wasn't a book that said, man with no legs, one arm, this is how you bodybuild, unfortunately. And so just like everything else in life, I not only modeled people, but I went in and fell on my face 1 million times. What worked for me? What didn't work for me? And, we can self-reflect on who's successful in your industry that you can model. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to make it smoother. And so there's people that have done the things that you're doing successfully and they're crushing it. Go model them, because they're going to condense 10, 15 years of trials and tribulations into 2, 3, 4 years and save you lifetimes. And so that was my main focus was, coming into an industry, shaking it up, becoming a bodybuilder. And that would basically, I'd be a walking, hopping testimonial if I wanted to monetize it as well.
I mean, you're just like, you have me blown away. But I think a key point that you kind of pointed out is just like execution and like falling on your face. Because a lot of people, like you said before, are so scared of failure, or the what if and the unknown. So like, I commend like everything that you're doing, and like, man, you're like spreading so much inspiration like across the world. I'm sure you know. And, you know, with you knowing that, how do you get this, like, this confidence, just because you're just like oozing with confidence, you know? Like, what is some advice you would give to like people out there, whether that be, you know, trying to have confidence in fitness, business, motivational speaking? What would you say is some advice that you would give to people who struggle with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. First and foremost, this person that you've seen here, I built this. I built this, man. I wasn't always this person. The training never stops. And so when I was talking about confidence, I realized that confidence is a skill. It's a muscle. It's something that we work on each and every day. And it's something that all human beings have. I mean, if someone says they're confident 100% of the times, they're lying, and they lie about other things as well. Right?
Bullshit.
And so how we build confidence is we commit to things and we follow through in them. And what I mean by that is, as humans, myself, all of us are guilty of saying we're going to do something and we don't do it. But oftentimes we don't realize the underlying issue. And the underlying issue is every time that we commit to something and we don't follow through on it, we diminish the relationship we have within ourselves. Like, we take a piece of armor away from the avatar, right? And so we diminish our word. As humans, one of the most powerful things we have is our word, and you want to keep your word. And so confidence is having a relationship with yourself that's so good that you don't care what anyone else thinks of you, because you know who you are. You know, when you say something's going to get done, it gets done. You know, you're authentic, you're transparent, you show up you know? And so I think that so many people are trying to seek validation from others. I think we're trying to seek validation from a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a mentor, a teacher, a parent, when you should be seeking validation from yourself first and foremost. You know, you should be each and every day finding different ways to fall in love with yourself. And so I would suggest that people, yeah, exactly. You know,
I'm just falling in love with my, continue. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Exactly. Well, that goes.
For those that are listening, I was touching myself. Yeah.
But that goes along the lines with self-praise. Like, when's the last time you woke up and looked into the mirror and said, I love you? Probably not very often.
Yeah.
Because the human brain is the survival brain. And what that means is the human brain is designed to focus on your insecurities. It's designed to focus on your weaknesses. It's designed to focus on the negatives and the failures in your life. It is your job to program your brain to be happy. Not the brain's job. That's your job, right? And so I would suggest that, you know, people wake up and they ask themselves, what are 2 to 5 power moves that I can make today that are going to make me feel good? Whether that's evolving spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it may be. But humans love the feeling of progress. Can we agree?
Yeah.
Like, we love the feeling of moving forward, right? And so if you want to create momentum in your life, remember, nick it as one finger and do one thing today that you know is going to evolve you into a better human being.
Man, you're fucking awesome.
I have one question, and Ariane and I were talking about this before you came on. My best friend lost her right leg when she was 6 years old, below the knee, and then amputated above the knee for a myriad of issues. She's a one. I'm just a curiosity question. Did you ever toy with the idea of prosthetics? Ariane brought it up before we started, and I was interested in that because, and it might be totally different, but as a woman, Aviva, Ariane, was very much felt like she lost a part of a feminine vibe of her. And so she worked with a place actually in New Jersey, a step ahead, and they created a prosthetic leg that looks so real. So it's just, I mean, I'm very curious. Was that ever part of your journey?
Yeah, it's a great question. When I was 14 or 15, I hit my parents with why can't I ride the bike like the other kids? Mm-hmm. And they didn't like that, right? I mean, it was uncomfortable, and I didn't hit it as a poke. I was just curious. And so how prosthetics work is the amount of limb you have, like as in leg or quad. If you have more leg, it's easier to operate prosthetics. And so I only have about 4 inches of quad. So I do have leg, like individual leg, but not much. And so when I was 15, we found a place in Jersey that would fit me for prosthetics, because my whole life they turned me down. They said, no, it's too hard.
Yeah.
And at first they put me in, they were called stubbies. So they were like little stilts. And so they crafted them to my quad, and I would walk around and I'd exercise myself. And because what I didn't realize is how much muscle goes into just a human being standing up. You don't know it because you build it up over time, right? But like your abs, your obliques, your lower back, I'm like, oh my God, my lower back's firing. This is like really tough. And then finally they put me in bigger legs, and they had knees, electric knees. And I'm like, oh my God, the air is so much better up here. It's incredible. Right. But physically, to be fully transparent, physically, I wasn't strong enough. The legs were about 7.5 pounds each. And for the amount of leg I have, it was very difficult. And so I could walk with a walker and I could walk with bars, but Nick always wants to run and do backflips, and that wasn't happening as fast. And so it was the first thing in my life physically that I was like, dude, this is way too hard right now. Like, you got to come back to this. And so I'm glad you asked that question, because the legs are still there. I'd have to get, refit, but bodybuilding has helped me so much in just, longevity of my life, right?
Yeah.
Of like,
yes,
being able to walk around. Like, I realized, like, dude, if I don't work out when I'm like 40 or 50, if I'm overweight, it's gonna be hard to get around. Like, I got to stay in shape if I want longevity, happiness. Right. And so I'm always I'm still on my bodybuilding regimen and my food every day. And so one day I'm just going to shock the internet and walk around in my legs one day and freak people out and be like, hey, I did it. But until then, I'm just working on my body. But thanks so much for answering or asking that question, because not many people ask that.
I was curious, and I kind of have with my good girlfriend, and it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Going off the cuff, because I know this is something that we didn't, pre-plan to ask, but you were like, you know what? I feel like this would be a question that, you'd be kind of comfortable with asking.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, what is next for Nick? What is the next moves? What plans? Can you spill a little tea on what you're working on during quarantine?
Yeah, I like it. So, what people wouldn't know about me is when I guess for the majority of my life, I always wanted to be a rapper and singer. Like my parents, I went out for American Idol when I was young, didn't make it. The Voice didn't make it. And not only did I not have the confidence or like the speaking and the presence I do have now, but it just wasn't ready. It was kind of like God, the universe on the sideline saying, time out, like you need to do this before this. And so this all came about because I realized that there's only a small percentage of the world that goes to personal development seminars. It's very small, right? So I was like, well, how can I cast a bigger net of impact? How can I reach more people? I was like, well, I love music and everybody else loves music. And so if I can make super dope, hot songs that have, a subconscious messaging in it, then I can impact the kids and they don't even know it. Because right now in the rap industry, in the hip hop industry, it's like your favorite rappers doing lean, Xanax. They want to do it. Like, it's not very good, to be honest. So I want to shed light in an industry that doesn't have much light. And so like literally behind me, I have a full blown studio in my house. I just put it in, and I have my first single out. And what I've been doing is I've been leveraging my TikTok following. So in about 7-8 months, I have 1.9 million followers on TikTok. And so like I do funny stuff, I do dances, but I wrote like 2 bars. I wrote 2 bars and I sang it a cappella on TikTok, and it went viral. And so boom, there's my proof of concept that my voice is good enough and the kids will listen to it, right? And so what I'm working on now is like my producer will be here tomorrow, and like I'm just going to release singles. I'm going to release singles. And I'm in a liberating spot in my life because I know music is opinionated. So there's always going to be people that like your music, and there's always going to be people that don't like your music. And the people that like it are going to rock with it. They're going to be at your shows, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And but putting positive messaging into the music. So for example, life is a wave and I'm staring at a title. I'm just trying to be the light for the kids that are suicidal. Like stuff like that. Or
that literally, if I shut my eyes, I got a little bit of, I don't know what you think about Eminem, but he's iconic to me. I was like, let me just shut my eyes and feel that vibe.
Yeah, or like you see me on the street, you say, oh, he's disabled. But when we compare mindsets, no, I'm the one who's able. So, so showing people that the biggest disability is not your physical body, it's your programming, it's your mindset, and doing that through words. And so, I already have the stage presence. Now I just got to work on my voice and all that. And, leveraging that through my speaking events. Maybe I speak and then I perform a song. Like I perform my songs in China before I've ever done it in America, and that's just how the Beatles came up. The Beatles weren't anyone until they toured Indonesia, and then they came back kings. And so even if my music doesn't pop off in America, I'm gonna go over here and pop off, and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
Go to Germany. David Hasselhoff's big in Germany. Go anywhere but America, because you can make the coin and come on back.
Exactly. Wow. Is there anything that you can't do over here? King of all trades, literally, just coming with all the all the sauce and all the tea. Before we dive into rapid fire, Matt, did you want to?
Yeah, based on what you just said, Ari, is there anything you can't do? I want to ask you if there were 3 key ingredients to baking a cake, a success cake, what would those 3 key ingredients be?
Yeah, the first thing, and it sounds so cliche, but it's having gratitude and appreciation. Because
Right,
if
put
you're
some
always
gratitude
worried
in.
about the things that you don't have, you're always going to be empty because you're never going to have everything you want. The second thing is drop your ego and realize you only know what you know. And so the biggest wealth trap from a human being is the know-it-all syndrome. And so I'm a student of the game. You know, I'm always here to learn. I'm always here to put myself in the rooms where people are richer, smarter than me. I never want to be the smartest or richest in the room. I'm always learning from people. And then the third thing I would say is have clarity on your why. Like, why do you get out of bed every day? Is it for your mom? Is it for your family? Do you want to take your mom to Egypt, your dad to Alaska? Do you want to retire your parents? Do you want to spend more time with your kids or your dogs? I don't know what it is. But when you have a powerful enough why, the how will reveal itself. The most successful people, when they created their businesses or their products or service, at first they didn't know how, but they had this massive vision in mind, right? And so that would be the 3 things that I would say to bake the dopest cake.
All right, I'm going to go bake a cake. You start the rapid fire.
And then I'm going to have a little tea to go with that. Little ingredient. Because that was some tea spilled in a very positive way.
I like it.
So we're going to do this rapid fire and do it as quickly as you can, because sometimes we have a little bit of, it's not rapid, it's long, kind of a long fire. So
it's anything but rapid, some of these people. I'm like, rapid definition.
Okay, here we go. If you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Okay, for Nelson Mandela would be one. Shoot, rapid fire, Nick. Russ, the rapper Russ. And third would be Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
I was trying to be as rapid as I can. I can only think of rappers.
That's rapid. Who would play you in the movie of your life?
That'd be tough. If you can find another man with no legs and 1 arm, let me know, because I'd like to meet him.
There you go.
I'd say me. No one can play me.
I love it. I love it.
If your house is on fire, what are 2 things you would run back and go get?
Oh, my computer and my favorite food, whatever the food is in the pantry. I gotta say that. I don't have any dogs, so that's not. I just want to let people know.
I was like, if you have dogs, you're bad.
No,
son. You're like, burn, bitch, burn. All right, I already think you have a superpower, but in the world of like having a superpower, if you had one, what would it be?
Teleportation.
Done. See, good answer. Rapid as fuck. Love it.
So for everyone who is living under a rock and not following you, please let everyone know who is listening and watching where they can follow you at, where they can follow your journey and the whole 9.
Yeah, absolutely. Same name, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Nick Santonastasso, but I understand it's a very long last name. So if you type in Nick Santo, I'm the guy with tattoos and no legs and 1 arm, and there's not many of those running around the world.
Love it.
There you have it.
Where can everybody follow you at, Matt?
You can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983 across the board.
And you guys can follow me at Ariane Andrew across the board, and this little nugget at Glitty Glip.
I don't know where my dog went. Well, cheers, brother. Thank you so much. Where's my cheers?
And until next time, we will catch you guys on Zippin' the Tea Quarantine Special Edition.
Boom. Thank you so much, man.